Hey guys, so last week I did not get the chapters working and I was really kind of bummed. But I think I figured it out and we are back and ready to go with chapters. So each video is a separate chapter. I think they were just getting too long and YouTube would not upload them. I hope you guys are enjoying the weather, at least today, which is Thursday of last week. It is nice, bright, and sunny. My girls have been outside all day long playing, so they are actually upstairs watching a movie because they are so tired, and I was able to get out and go for a run. That's why my hair's wet. So I'm just excited about the good weather, and I hope you guys are enjoying that too. So go ahead, grab your Holes book. We are now on chapter 10. We're doing 10 through 14. Okay, and each chapter will be a separate video. So this is chapter 10. Stanley had no trouble falling asleep, but morning came much too quickly. Every muscle and joint in his body ached as he tried to get out of bed. He didn't think it was possible, but his body hurt more than it had the day before. It wasn't just his arms and his back, but his legs, ankles, and waist too also hurt. The only thing that got him out of bed was knowing that every second he wasted meant it was 1 second closer to the rising sun. He hated the sun. He could hardly lift a spoon during breakfast, and then he was out on the lake. His spoon was replaced by a shovel. He found a crack in the ground and began the second hole. He stepped on the shovel blade, pushed very back on the shaft with the base of his thumb. It hurt less than trying to hold the shaft with his blistered fingers. As he dug, he was careful to dump the dirt far enough away from his hole. He needed to save the area where the hole for when his hole was much deeper. He didn't know if he would ever get that far. X-Ray was right. The second hole was the hardest. It would take a miracle. As long as the sun wasn't out yet, he removed his cap and used it to protect his hand. Once the sun rose, he would have to put it back on his head. His neck and forehead had been badly burnt the day before. He took one shovelful at a time and tried not to think about the awesome task that laid ahead of him. After an hour or so, his sore muscles seemed to loosen up a bit. He grunted as he stuck his shovel into the dirt. His cap slid out from under his fingers, and the shovel fell free. He let it lie there. He took a drink from his canteen. He guessed that the water truck would soon be coming, but he didn't finish all his water, just in case he was wrong. He learned to wait until he saw the truck before drinking the last drop. The sun wasn't up, but the waves arched over the horizon and brought light to the sky. He reached down to pick up his hat, and there, next to it, saw a wide, flat rock. He put on his cap on his head and continued to look down at the rock. He picked it up. He thought he could see the shape of a fish, fossilized in it. He rubbed off the dirt, and the outline of the fish became clearer. The sun peeked over the horizon, and he could actually see tiny lines where every one of the fish's bones had been. He looked at the barren land all around him. True, everyone referred to this area as the lake, but it was still hard to believe the dry wasteland was once full of water. He remembered what Mr. Sir and Mr. Pendensky had both said. If he dug up anything interesting, he would report it to one of them. If the warden liked it, he would get the rest of the day off. He looked back down at the fish. He had found his miracle. He continued to dig, though very slowly. As he waited for this water truck, he didn't want to bring attention to his find, afraid that one of the other boys might take it from him. He tossed the rock flat, face down, beside his dirt pile, as if it was of no special value. A short while later, he saw a cloud of dirt heading across the lake. The truck stopped and the boys lined up. They always lined up in the same order. Stanley realized that no matter who got there first, X-Ray was always at the front of the line. Then came Armpit, Squid, Zigzag, Magnet, and Zero. Stanley got in line behind Zero. He was glad to be in the back, so no one would have noticed his fossil. His pants had very large pockets, but the rock was still making a bulge. Mr. Pendensky filled the boys' canteen until Stanley was the only one left. Found something, Stanley said, taking it out of his pocket. Mr. Pendensky reached in for Stanley's canteen, but Stanley handed him the rock instead. What's this? It's a fossil, said Stanley. See the fish? Mr. Pendenski looked at it again. See, you can see all the little bones, said Stanley. Interesting, said Mr. Pendenski. Let me have your canteen. Stanley handed it to him. Mr. Pendenski finished it and returned it. So do I get the rest of the day off? For what? You know, I found something interesting. The warden would give me the day off. Mr. Pendenski laughed as he gave the fossil back to Stanley. Sorry, Stanley. The warden is not interested in fossils. Let me see that, said Magnet, taking the rock from Stanley. Stanley continued to stare at Mr. Pendenski. Hey, Zig, dig this rock. Cool, said Zigzag. Stanley saw the fossil had been passed around. I don't see nothing, said X-Ray. Took off his glasses, wiped it on his dirty clothes, and put them back on. See? Look, a little fishy, said Armpit.